Hey everyone, so today I'm going to show you how I make my screenshots. I'm a photographer, so I'm always wanting to kind of push myself with things like screenshots and see what I can come up with. Um, so let's jump right into No Man's Sky. We're going to use No Man's Sky as our subject today. So now this isn't going to be just an amazing subject. I'm just going to show you what I do, and you can decide whether or not you choose to do your screenshots this way or not. You're going to need Photoshop, or you don't need Photoshop. You can use another program, but I use Photoshop, so I'll be showing techniques in Photoshop today. So let's see. Okay, let's say for instance you were inspired to do a screenshot of this mountain here. Okay, so go ahead into your photo mode, and ordinarily you'd say, okay, well, I'm gonna adjust the time of day, and you make all of your adjustments, get it just the way you want. So let's see, let's just say for the sake of the video that this was breathtaking to me. It isn't, but we're going to use it for the video. Actually, oh heck, we'll just use that. Okay. So you go ahead and hide your menus, and you'd say, let me see something real quick. Okay, and you'd say, you kind of frame it, right? And then you'd shoot your screenshot, and that's what you would end up with. A straight screenshot of this frame of reference. Well, let's say we're just not impressed with this. Let's say we want say like a panoramic style. Let's go ahead and see what we can do. So to shoot a panoramic in a game like this, you're going to want to first of all compose your frame. Let's say we want this mountain, but we also want some of the ringed planet and maybe some of this over here. Okay, so what you're going to want to do is go ahead and frame. I always frame the edges first, so we'll shoot the ringed planet first. Okay, now as you're shooting panoramics, you're going to need to leave some of the original shot in your second shot. In other words, overlap. Usually you want to overlap about 25 to 30% or 33%, but so we'll go ahead and shoot another. Actually, you know what? Yeah, that's fine. I don't know if I like that. Let's see. Yeah, I guess that's working. So, okay, go ahead and shoot another. Overlap. Shoot another. Overlap. Shoot another. And let's just do one more. You can do, I wouldn't do too many just because you got to process this afterwards, but oh, what the heck, one more for fun. Okay, so now that you've literally photographed your panoramic, you're going to go ahead and jump into Photoshop. And to bring your images into Photoshop, the way I do panoramics, and like I say, other people will, there are so many different ways to approach this in Photoshop, but I'll show you my way, is to go ahead and automate, photo merge, and I found the algorithm that's best suited for this kind of stuff is spherical. And you might say, well, wait a second, isn't that going to give us a lot of curvilinear distortion, or that, and yeah, it can, but I'm going to show you how to correct that, and it's pretty easy. So, okay, now we're going to browse to our screenshot file. Okay, and now we're going to, well, I'm on a PC, so I shift click all of the images that I want to use for the panoramic. Hit OK. It's going to load the image files. Now click OK. And Photoshop is going to build the panoramic. Okay, now once that's complete, go ahead and right click on the top layer and hit merge layers, or flatten image. It doesn't really matter. Well, actually, let's do merge because we want to keep that transparency just for the heck of it. This is the transparency. As you can see, if we flatten the image, it completely flattens it, and you end up with a white background. So let's go ahead and left click, merge layers. Okay, so you're looking at this and you're saying, that looks awful. Well, okay. I'll show you what we do next. So with Photoshop, you can go crazy. There's thousands of options, and you don't need to go crazy. What I found is most of the options for editing a gaming screenshot can be found in the raw filter set. So just on PC, it's Control Shift A. And that's going to open your Camera Raw settings. And as you can see here in Camera Raw, we pretty much have everything we need. We have the temperature, tint, exposure, contrast, highlights, saturation. We have everything we need right here. It makes it so easy. You don't have to go searching for everything in Photoshop using all kinds of crazy options. So we're going to just use the Camera Raw settings here. Okay, so next you have to decide, what are you going to do with this image? Are you going to just enhance the sky? Do you want to just bring out the colors? Do you want to dull the colors? So I think in this case we're just going to play. We're just going to see what we can come up with, whatever creativity inspires. So let's see, if we let's adjust the saturation. Okay, too much saturation, too little saturation. I think in this case with that bright planet saturation is just fine like this. Certain settings won't do much, like dehaze. Well, you don't have the dynamic range to dehaze, so it's going to look awful. So you don't need to play with that. Now, shadows, sure, we can bring up the shadows. That really works, but we already have a very bright sky, so might not want to bring up shadows too much. But since the skies are so blown out, why don't we try to bring down the highlights? Yeah. See? From before highlight adjustment and after, much better. So I know that this is probably bothering you, the fact that it looks awful, that we have all this, this curved mess out of our panoramic, but this is intended. This is actually good. Because if you were to use another method of panoramic, say, instead of spherical, we used, I don't know, whatever another method, it could cut off a significant amount of your images, and then it's always good to deal with the curved mess, and have most all of your original images in your project, rather than have them cropped off using other panoramic settings. So let's just go ahead and apply this. So we kind of fixed our skies and brought up the shadows a bit. Now go ahead and hit Control T for transform. You may have to hit Control A to select all, and then Control T, but Control T and right click and go to warp. Now warp gives you all these handles here, and we can very quickly fix fix this curvilinear mask here. So we just kind of gradually go up here. Go up as high as you can. Now, when you go up to the top here, if you need to go higher, you might say, well, what am I going to do? My handle's gone. Very quick fix. Control 0 will always recenter your image and bring out your handles so you can have access to them again. Grab this handle over here. You do just want to pay attention to your proportions, you know. Okay, hit enter. Now at this point, let's say we went back into the camera raw features, Shift Control A. It's going to show us the original mask, right? Or pretty close to the original mask. The original borders, but corrected with transform. So what we really need to do before we go, if we're going to go back into the raw filters, is we need to go ahead and flatten this image. So right click on the image, on the layer, hit flatten image. Now when we go back into your camera raw settings, as you can see, it's not a mess anymore. We're looking good. Okay, well that's looking pretty nice. So what else could we do to this? Let's just see what contrast. Not feeling it. Exposure. Little. I think we'll leave exposure alone too. Let's adjust our temperature, see what we come up with. Kind of warms it up a bit. Clarity sometimes works well, but you got to use it sparingly because it really kind of just blows out a lot of your detail. Fine detail, that is. Okay, so that's looking pretty nice. Of course, there's different ways to do black and whites. I mean, you could just reopen your camera raw settings and drag down your saturation. At that point, you could adjust some of the colors here for a completely entirely different effect in black and white. But we're going to leave this one color. So I think at this point that would be ideal. That would be the way I envisioned it. And I hope this gave you a quick tutorial on how to make better looking screenshots. I'll show you some of the screenshots I've done recently. They're all black and white, so if you don't like black and white, you can cover your eyes. But I left the black borders on it because it's if they go on YouTube, they need to be 1080p. So I thought some of these turned out very nice. I love that underwater pic. To me, No Man's Sky is sort of an artistic game, so it lends itself well to artistic screenshots. I love this one. This is probably my favorite out of the black and whites I did recently. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope it was helpful in some way, and I will see you guys next time.